If you scroll through your social media today, you may have seen Stacey Abrams trending on Twitter. Multiple posts thanking her for her efforts to register thousands of Georgians and helping to flip Georgia blue for now. As we know, the votes are still being counted. Abrams remains at the center of a national conversation over voter rights and fighting voter suppression.
Abrams, of course, started the voter rights organization Fair Fight 2 years ago. And when I talked to her on the night before the election, she said a shift was absolutely happening in Georgia.
We had Democrats elected statewide even through 2006. 2010 was the first year you had complete Republican control. A decade later, we are on the cusp of changing that. And so what I would say is that, again, the demographic changes aren't instantaneous. And there's a lag time between the change in demography and the change in power. But I would tell anyone who doubts that it's coming that they are not looking at the numbers.
What are the differences you're seeing in the landscape of Georgia voters from, let's say, 2016, 2018 to today?
We have seen growth among communities that were largely discounted as voters. We've seen increases in Black participation and Latino participation. I saw a statistic yesterday of 114% increase in Asian American Pacific Islander participation. We know young people are showing up at great numbers, and we're seeing a diversity in how they're voting. We saw more communities of color take advantage of voting by mail than did so in 2016. Part of that came about because of the education work that we did in 2018 and the work that was done during the primary this year. And so we're seeing more voters take advantage of all of the, in theory, great ways that you can vote in Georgia. We just need to make sure that theory always meets practice, and that's why Fair Fight exists.